Morning, girls. Today, I'm going to discuss the birth of Khadi. It's an extract from the autobiography of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, in which he says that the main object behind the birth of Khadi was to enable Indians to be clothed in cloth manufactured by their own hands. This, as I said, is an extract taken from his autobiography. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, as you all know, was born in 1869. Officially recognized as the father of the nation, he was popularly known as Bapu. He chose truth and non-violence as the chief weapons against the British rule in India. Gandhi's peaceful battle and bloodless revolution helped India gain independence. He was not only an ardent social worker and inspiring teacher, but also one of the greatest Indian writers of English. Let's begin with this extract. I do not remember to have seen a handloom or a spinning wheel when in 1908 I described it in Hind Swaraj as a panacea of the growing pauperism of India. In that book, I took it as understood that anything that helped India to get rid of the grinding poverty of her masses would be in the same purpose also establish Swaraj. So he says how the birth of Khadi came into existence. This is what he is talking about. He says that he has not seen handloom or spinning wheel till 1908 in Hind Swaraj as the panacea. Panacea is remedy for all diseases, something which was going to provide you a remedy for pauperism. Pauperism is poverty in India. So even in 1915, when I returned to India from South Africa, I had actually not seen a spinning wheel. When the Satyagraha ashram was founded at Sabarmati, we introduced a few handlooms there. But no sooner had we done this than we found ourselves up against a difficulty. So he says that there was difficulties while we were trying to put the handlooms there. And what was it? All of us belonged either to the liberal professions or to business. Not one of us was an artisan. Artisan is somebody who knows the tactics or somebody who knows the way of doing a particular thing. Artists, right? So we needed a weaving expert to teach us to weave before we could work the looms. So one was at last procured from Palanpur, but he did not communicate to us the whole of his art. Communicate is that he did not teach them the whole of his art. But Maganlal Gandhi was not to be easily baffled. Baffled is somebody who's troubled, or a problem or which cannot be solved. So he was not troubled by it. Possessed of a natural talent for mechanics, he was able fully to master the art before long, and one after another, several new weavers were trained up in the ashram. So he says that we were looking for people who could weave cloth for us, and finally, we have found a person, Maganlal Gandhi, who learned this art, and he was the one who was helping others to weave at the ashram. The object that we set before ourselves was to be able to clothe ourselves entirely in cloth manufactured by our own hands. We therefore forthwith discarded the use of mill woven cloth, and all the members of the ashram resolved to wear hand woven cloth made from Indian yarn only. So, and why all this happened? Because they wanted that people of India should wear the clothes that have been made by the cloth from their own hand, right? So the adoption of this practice brought us a word of experience. It enabled us to know from direct contact the conditions of life among the weavers, the extent of their production, the handicaps in the way of their obtaining their yarn supply, the way in which they were being made victims of fraud, and lastly, their ever growing indebtedness. We were not in a position immediately to manufacture all the cloth of our needs. So, what are the various problems that those people were facing? So, the first problem that those people were facing is the condition of the weavers. What was the condition of the weavers? So, they were not getting the yarn supplied properly, and they were the victims of fraud. They were being cheated. Those are the people who were being cheated, and because of that, what is the thing that was happening? They were in debt. So we were and they were not in a position to manufacture all the cloth that they would need for the production. So for production, they need to have that thread. So that thread was not available to them, and neither they were able to produce it. So the alternative, therefore, was to get your cloth supply from the handloom weavers. But ready-made cloth from India mill yarn was not easily obtainable, either from the cloth dealers or from the weavers themselves. All the fine cloth woven by the weavers was from the foreign yarn. Since Indian mills did not spin fine counts, and why they were not able to get it, because all the yarns that they were getting was from was coming from outside India, was a foreign yarn, and we Indian mills did not spin fine counts, so we were not able to produce that fine quality that we were looking for. So even today, the outturn of higher counts by Indian mills is very limited, whilst highest counts they cannot spin at all. It was after the greatest effort that we were at last able to find some weavers who condescended to weave Swadesi yarn for us, and only on one condition, that the ashram would take up all the cloth that they might produce. So finally, they were able to find somebody who said that if they are going to do it, so condescend is to behave in a way that shows that you think you are the most important or intelligent than others. So they were trying to show their superiority over others, and they had a it was a condition. They put up a condition, and what was that condition? That all the cloth that would be manufactured, they're going to all the cloth that would be produced, they are going to take all of it. So by thus adopting cloth woven from mill yarn as our wear and propagating it among our friends, we made ourselves voluntary agents of the Indian spinning mills. This has in turn brought us into contact with the mills and enabled us to know something about their management and their handicaps. We saw that the aim of the mills was more and more to weave the yarn spun by them. Their cooperation with the handloom weaver was not willing but unavoidable and temporarily. So this was the problem that they were facing, that the cooperation that they were getting was unavoidable and temporary. So they were not getting permanent help from people. We became impatient to be able to spin our own yarn. It was clear that until we could do this ourselves, dependence on the mills would remain. We did not feel that we could render any service to the country by continuing as agents of Indian spinning mills. No end of difficulties again faced us. We could get neither spinning wheel nor a spinner to teach us how to spin. We were employing some wheels for filling purns and bobbins for weaving in the ashram, but we had no idea that these could be used as spinning wheels. Once Kalidas Javeri discovered a woman who he said would demonstrate us to how spinning was done. We sent to her a member of the ashram who was known for his great versatility in learning new things, but even he returned without wresting the secret of the art. So they found some woman who, according to them, could do the spinning, and they have sent their best person to her, but still they were not able to get it. Resting is something obtaining by laborious effort, right? So but he also cannot learn that. So the time passed on, and my impatience grew with the time. I plied every chance visitor to the ashram who was likely to possess some information about hand spinning with questions about the art. But the art being confined to women and having been all but exterminated, if there was some stray spinner still surviving in some obscure corner, only a member of that sex was likely to find out her whereabouts. So it says that the problem, apart from that, they were facing is that it is the thing that is done by females, and there are very few women who are left who know the art of spinning. So, in the year 1917, I was taken by my Gujarati friend to preside at the Broach Education Conference. It was here that I discovered that remarkable lady, Gangaben Majumdar. She was a widow, but her enterprising spirit knew no bounds. Her education, in the accepted sense of the term, was not much, but in courage and common sense, she easily surpassed the general run of our educated women. So finally they have found a woman. What was her name? So Ganga Ben Majumdar. She was a widow, but her skills, enterprising skills, here refers to the business sense that she has, was commendable in comparison to the general run of the educated women that were there. She had already got rid of the curse of untouchability and fearlessly moved among and served the suppressed classes. So she was the one who was trying to break away with the problems of the caste system, of the people who are getting subjugated because of the class. She had means of her own, and her needs were few. She had a well seasoned constitution, and went about everywhere without an escort. She felt quite at home on horseback. I came to know her more intimately at the Godra conference. To her, I poured out my grief about the charkha, and she enlightened my burden by a promise to prosecute an earnest and incessant search for the spinning wheel. So, how he, got a person to do this for him by the help of Ganga Ben Majumdar, who, as I said, was an entrepreneur, and she said that she promised him that she is going to provide him with a person who know how to spin the wheel, and that is how the birth of khadi is being done. So that is how the khadi or self woven or hand woven cloth came into existence, that we are still using it, that we are still wearing. Khadi is the most beautiful cloth that you can find, most body soothing, and the colors are so good. So it is all because of these people that we have been able to get khadi still. So this was, as I said, what an extract from his autobiography, Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, Birth of Khadi. So I hope you have understood it. Thank you so much.